Ready?
Yeah, it's already on.
Alright. We're going live right now. Project Lights Out. This is the second show, and it is to honor the outstanding women of Oneida. And we had some complications, kind of with bringing in Angelina. She didn't feel comfortable, and I didn't want to pressure her to come in. We have her auntie over here too. And her family reached out. So, I wanted her to come on, but I didn't want to pressure her to come on, because it's really serious, and the mental health issues and trauma of a person, you don't want to pressure them, you want to comfort them. And that's what this is about, is trying to help everyone in the best way that we can, and not do what everybody wants you to. This isn't a stage for anybody to get famous. It's not a stage for to pry on anybody or to expose their weaknesses or anything like that. This is to spread awareness that we have a problem within our nation that is not being addressed the right way. In this segment, I did not get a hold of everyone I got a hold of a good majority of the women that were receiving their awards. I was going to go to their work, and give them their awards and then have them come on the show. But I did make it to a couple of their works though. But yeah, we have some outstanding women of Oneida, and today we're gonna kind of honor them today, and that's what I wanted to do, to let people know that we have all this awareness on Project Lights Out, but we also have success stories of strong, independent women that are out there doing it successfully. That's a big thing too, is getting to see the fruits of what's going on in the community, and what these women are doing successfully, and what are they doing, what have they been through. That's a big thing, you know what I mean? And I just met with the mayor of Green Bay a little while ago, and kind of gave him of what we do. And he asked too, he's like, oh, what's going on with your tribe? I said, nothing. I said, they're not backing me. I said, this is my independent project, and I got to sit down and talk with him again, and he's definitely interested, and he wants to get involved, and that's what it is. I have a speaking engagement and some other engagements with Stockbridge. I'll be getting the flyers for that. I have to send them information for me to see how to put me on the flyers and whatever else they need me to do, what to speak on. It's with DEC. And then Red Cliff, we have an engagement up there also that we'll be going to speak on some other critical issues. So the momentum is definitely starting, and we need that extra push. It's not about just raising money; it's about changing lives. That's what we need in this community, and we have a couple of guests on today that are going to be speaking about what they've been through all around the board. So that's big too, knowing what everybody's going through currently, and the people that are coming here have real lives, have to pay bills and are still going through their either recovery or transitioning out of that, and giving that awareness to our youth. That's what we need. We need to spread that awareness to our youth, and just the kids that I've been talking to, it's like all the troubled kids do not have one active parent or both. And I didn't think that was really critical, if you got a mama, maybe you'll be all right, or if you have your dad, you'll be all right. But I think that they need both parents involved, because just the mother's love, he's going to be going buck wild because he does not have a man to be able to have that disciplinary role in their life. And a lot of times they have step parents. How I am. I'm a stepdad myself, and I have to discipline as though I'm their real dad, because a lot of times the other parent is absent. from their lives. And there's nothing like your real dad or your real mom. And it might feel foreign to the child. Man, I don't like you, or, whatever it may be, whatever their issues are, but they are under your household and you have to take control of your house. And they are not the parent. You are the parent. You know what I mean? It does not, it don't work like that. Really, in actuality, all you have to do is give them food, clothing, and shelter. And they can, if they want that extra phone, they're to work for it. Don't give them anything without not working for it at all. You know what I mean? My son is always like, I always got to do this and that, because I'm getting you prepared for the real world. You don't just get things and get to sit at home and play games till you're 23 years old. That's not a reality. That's not the real world. You're not going to be prepared for when you're 18 and you start having to pay your bills and, get your life in order. If I did everything I have to as a parent, my son is going to be able, and my daughters, all my kids are going to be able to go out into that world and beat the world up versus the world beating them up. You know what I mean? If I did everything within my parently powers. Because if you don't, the world is going to beat them up. They're not going to know how to survive because you've enabled them to death. As soon as they cry, then it's, boo-hoo you. Me, it ain't a matter of having tough love, but it's a matter of being a parent and being like, hey, you know what? You're not going to like this, but I have to do this. This is what you need. You need that tough love. You're 14, you need to work and go to school and get into a sport. If you're not working, you'll be in sports because your days have to be filled. Or you're going to be running the streets, jumping out of windows, and going and doing whatever you feel is necessary. I was in shelter care since I was 14 years old. When I turned 18, I was on probation. So those of you kids who are like, oh, you know what, you don't know what you're talking about. Yeah, I was selling drugs at 14, you know what I mean? And I was in the streets heavily, fully, you know what I mean? So there's nothing that you can't tell me. Manipulating young girls. Little girls, I have 5 daughters. Little girls, I gotta tell you something. These young boys, all they want to do is manipulate you and try to take your virginities and all that. And that's a reality of thing. That's only something that a father is going to be able to say, like, look, stay away from these little boys. They just want you to run the streets. They're the reasons why you are trying to jump out those windows or not coming home from school. Teen pregnancy is real. I was a father when I was 14 years old. You know what I mean? That's a reality. But if you want to be knocked up when you're 14 years old, keep doing what you're doing. And then me, I told my son, okay, you're telling me what you're doing? Okay, well, if you have that baby, you better move your ass into that house with that girl and take care of that baby then. Because you're my son. And that's tough love, most definitely. But you're not going to do what you want to. I had to kick my daughter out because of the things that happened. You know what I mean? I had to make a hard decision. But you will not get pregnant underneath my roof. You think you're grown. You can't even pay the bills. But you can't take care of yourself, but you're ready to lay down and start having kids. It's not a reality. You are not the parent. I am the parent. And it has to be done, and our men need to get stronger. Just because your woman don't want you disciplining those kids, discipline those kids. It's your household. You take control of that household. Don't matter who makes more money. It matters what's right. If you want them kids to run all over you, then don't parent. And in the Bible it also says, if you hate your children, you'll withhold discipline. So don't withhold discipline from your child. Get that rod out once in a while. Not saying to abuse them. Because me, what I do is, I talk to them. Then I take stuff away. And then, most definitely, there has to be a good licking. You know what I mean? But that's with my kids. I need my son to be a young, productive young man. And that means that he needs to see me with a work ethic. He needs to see me handling my household and it being in order, not of chaos. Because I didn't know how to be a parent before. I didn't. My life was unmanageable. It's called undisciplined discipline, as to where I'm telling my kids what to do, but I'm living in a different world. Don't drink, but I'm drinking. Don't smoke weed, but I'm smoking weed. Does that make any sense?
Nope.
No, it don't. They're going to be looking at me like, yeah, right. You're over there doing what you want to do.
That's right.
So, yeah, it's a hard balance. You know what I mean? And also, uncles have to step up too. Because when the father's having a hard time, I have my brothers that are in the streets. They're just like me. If my son runs away again, I'm gonna be that guy that's out there at 2 o'clock in the morning looking for my son. 3:30 in the morning again up. You know what I mean? 5 o'clock, I'm back up there, out there looking for my son because I don't know if he's gonna get jumped. I don't know what's gonna happen in them streets for him because when I was in the streets, my mom stayed up looking for me, waiting for that call if I got shot or if I was doing drugs and whatever it may be, or if she looks on the news like, you know. But we don't think about that though. We don't when we're in the streets. Hell no. We're just worried about us. We're selfish. We're thinking about the next party. When we're a kid, or just getting it. We don't have no respect for human life when we get older if we're molded into something evil when we're younger. You know what I mean? If we don't have that discipline and integrity and and have a heart, you will be a monster. Because if you cannot respect your mom or your grandma, how the hell are you going to learn how to respect the husband that you want? How are you going to be able to respect your wife if you cannot respect your own parents? And like I tell everybody, a bad girlfriend is going to be a bad wife. A bad boyfriend is going to be a bad husband. If you see them little boys over there talking crazy to their moms, man, you better be like, man, what is wrong with you? And me, I'll take them to the side and be like, man, don't do that in front of me, man. I might have to cuff you up. Or if I can, I'll get somebody your age to do it. I don't have no problem with that at all. Because that's horrible. You won't do that in front of me. I don't know what's wrong with these kids, man. They're doing what they want to. Don't do that around me, that's all I'm saying. And I definitely will get on your butt. But yeah, the uncles are scared sometimes, And I'm one of them uncles that definitely ain't, man, get your ass in that room. Talking to your mom like that or your dad, Get in the room, go. Who are you? Woo, woo, woo. Man, you better go, man. But yeah, we need that. Now, yesterday we had our staff meeting too, and it was beautiful. It was definitely something beautiful. We got to see everybody stepping up from the community and taking the positions that needed to be full, their responsibilities to that direction. And we are looking for youth to come and join us. We need our youth, and that's where it begins, is with the youth. Getting the necessary skills that you guys need to get into the job force, workforce development, youth development, workforce. We need that. And I'm going to go talk to the director for the Boys and Girls Clubs. They have realistic job training as to where if you want to be a nurse, they'll send you with the nurse. If you want to be a lawyer, you know what I mean? Realistic job training. So we can definitely get on board with that. And, we definitely have a lot to do, community. And we are growing, and the momentum is real, and it's alive. And I just want to say, thank you to everybody. And I had so many requests to kind of tell my story. Everybody's asking about why I don't tell my story all the time. So I'll take that opportunity tonight if you guys want to. And I could tell my story, but I really didn't. I think everybody knew me, I guess. That's how I figured. Everybody knows who I am, and, they just... That's how you change lives, is by telling your story of what you've been through. So, maybe I should have done that maybe the first time. But, I can definitely, tell my story, and I have to be bold with it, And I can definitely start that. I'm John Skenador. I'm 33 years old. My grandma and grandpa took care of me. I moved all around a lot of times, you know what I mean? And my mom had to make a decision to go off to school, to be a better woman that she is today. And I definitely see that, that I had a good life with my grandma and grandpa. And it was definitely harder because they're a little bit old school. I did go through, a lot with them, some abuse. I am a victim of sexual assault when I was a child, and I don't have no problem saying that because, like I said, you have to be bold, and you have to let everybody know because that's a real issue, and it ain't something that really got to me or bothered me because I was so young, you know what I mean? But you know, different trauma though changes you. You know, as a kid. You know, because when you're a kid, you don't have nobody that will protect you a lot of times. And them girls that were going through that, sometimes maybe they didn't have somebody to protect them or to believe them. You know, and sometimes people will brush it under the rug. You know, it'll be a family secret, or it'll be something to where that family will feel ashamed about it. But me though, I'm older, and I had to take my take my childhood child for a walk because I'm a stronger man now, and I had to let him know that no, you know, I'm here, I'm older now, and I will definitely protect you. You know, you don't have to worry about that no more. I'm a strong, independent Native American man. You know, I'm a freedom man. You know, and I had to heal my childhood to keep going, because if you're gonna keep your feet right where they are and not make mistakes, you're never gonna know what to do to go forward. So it's okay to make mistakes, but they're costly sometimes. They're life-changing. You know what I mean? And my grandma and grandpa, again, you know, we moved around a lot. Boulder, Wisconsin, all over the place. Nina. I never knew why we moved so much, you know. And I was kind of naughty, you know. And as I got older, I kept having them questions, wondering all the time, like, why don't they have a mom, or why don't they have a dad? Later on in life, I referred to it in a book that I started writing, that when you don't have a mom or dad, you feel like you're born into the world blind and deaf. Your mom is like your eyes, and your dad is like your ears, you know. And when you have neither one of them, a lot of times you feel like you're missing something, or you're not wanted, or whatever it may be. And them issues are real. Them are called abandonment issues. And I suffered from them for a long time. And I tried to fill that void by all the sports that I did. You know, they would call me the golden boy, you know, because I would be wrestling and boxing and taekwondo and jiu-jitsu. But what I did though as my outlet was my anger. I had anger issues. I was mad at the world. You know, I needed to do those sports so I could try to release that anger. And it turned savagely because I could not contain my anger. I've been in 105 fights my whole life. I've been fighting since I was in 5th grade. And 105 is an accurate count. I sat one time in my cell and counted all the fights, you know what I mean, that I've ever been into my whole life. I've been stabbed 3 times. I've been in 3 major car accidents. I was flight for life. You know, so I've been through a lot. And, you know, I went to Pulaski Middle School, and I was still fighting and fighting and fighting. You know, high school, it was hard because I went to Seymour, you know, and a lot of times you're into it. And then that's when, you know, I started to kind of get into the gangs with my older homeboys. I did my first line of cocaine when I was 14 years old. I stopped smoking weed when I was in 8th grade because I had a bad experience, you know, and looking to them older guys that were in the streets, them gang members, come on little brother, come over here, you know, and these guys are still in the community yet, you know, and they're the guys that'll be molding your guys' kids, you know what I mean? Trying to have sex with your guys' daughters to have them join the gang, and you know, they'll be like just tossing her around, you know, and that's when she comes home all hickeyed up and all that stuff, and you're gonna be like, what the hell? And that is a reality of things, you know what I mean? And it's pretty crazy, you know. But again, 14 years old, you know, I started doing sports. 15, I started kind of going down to Minneapolis, and you know, getting into trouble. You know, carrying guns and, you know, shooting at people and all kinds of foolish things, you know what I mean? I was reckless, you know, I was very reckless at a young age, but what everybody else seen on the outside was me just being a star wrestler, regional, sectional champion, going to state, you know, stuff like that. They didn't see the internal fight that I was dealing with, you know what I mean? And I didn't care about opening up to nobody, you know, I didn't care. You know, I was a teenager, and you know, I just wanted to party and drink and have every single girl that I could, you know, as being somebody who had a sexual addiction. You know what I mean? Our young men will get into that, you know what I mean? And that's a lot of different spirits that will come on them young men and them girls, you know, is that spirit of sexual addiction, you know, and that's horrible. You're going to manipulate every woman that you can, or the females are going to use whatever they can. They will not even want to work because they think they can get by for the rest of their lives on their good looks. Manipulating older guys and doing whatever they have to do, having babies just so they can get a source of income a lot of times. You know what I mean? And that is a reality of things. You know, and that's 100. You know, that's how it is. You know, but now again, I was 17 years old. You know, I was kind of in between dropping out of school and trying to go to school. You know, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I had my feet planted in the good world, and then my other foot planted in the other world. You know what I mean? And that's hard when you're living in the middle. You know, and I definitely was in the middle. And I turned 18. I got on probation. You know, got on probation, and that sucked, man. Because my life since I was 14, I was locked up. Took a swing at my my principal. You know, I had anger issues. You know, and we got a lot of generational things that we carry down to our kids. And I see it in my son. You know, and it's for us as parents to break that chain right off of them and be like, look, you're not going to live in that bondage no more that I carried with me from my dad. You know, or my dad's dad. You know, all that abuse that my dad went through, or all that abuse that, you know, your mom went through, or whatever it may be, you know, because it's for us as parents to break that off, you know. And it is tough love, and I do the things that I think is best, you know, for my kids until they're 18, and then, you know, my kids are going to be out of the house right away as soon as they're 18. First month rent, security, and going to school, or, you know, whatever it may be. Me, personally, you know, because I need him to experience life. You know, if I just keep him at home, you know, with me, then, you know, it's going to be hard. But again, though, back to my story. At 18, I started cage fighting and going to school. NWTC, I started there for business administration. And I was still heavily drinking and doing drugs, you know, because I had kids when I was 14, then 15, 16, then 18. You know, that's how I have all my kids that are older, was from being a teen parent. I have 5 daughters and 1 son and 1 little baby on the way, and then my other 2 little guys and girl. You know, so that's a lot. That is a lot to deal with. And, you know, it's, man, that neglect that I gave my kids, you know, since the age of 14. I wasn't ready to be a father. You know, so that was a lot for me. And then I have to go back when I start that I'm better now, and I have to try to explain to them, like, look, man, me and your mom had a lot of problems. They're not going to care, though. They're not. To them, they're 15 or 16 now, and you're coming into my life now. You know what I mean? My daughter still talks to me, you know, and we do. 5 out of 6 of my kids, you know, we have a great relationship. On the other daughter, they only get to hear the one side a lot of times, you know. Them, well, what happened? Well, sit down with me, and I definitely will talk to you. I have no problem with that. But reaching out to them, you know, that I think that's what the kids need to know, is that you're willing to suffer with them, versus not them going, you know, the parent. You know, because when they're like, man, we might not have nothing, but dad is here. You know what I mean? And a lot of the little kids, you know, that are suffering, their parents are still there, but they're not there. When I mean that, you know, dad, we might not have nothing, you're still there, that means that he doesn't see me getting torn down and spending the last of my money on a case versus putting some money in the fridge. You know what I mean? That's not what it means at all. That's not what I mean. Those of you parents that are, you know, kind of in addiction right now and are spending your last hit while there's nothing in the fridge, them kids are hungry, you know. And that's one thing that we're trying to combat, you know, is getting, with this program, getting them kids after school a meal, you know, because a lot of those kids are not eating. You know, like I said, 52 to 56% of those kids are living in poverty, and that's huge. You know, they're, you know, when you're over there eating them 3 slabs a day, mom and dad you'll eat something for breakfast, and then when you get home, you got a nice meal on a you know, mom, what are you gonna make for dinner? You know, whatever it may be, you still got food in the fridge, but those other kids are like sitting there with their bellies grumbling, like, because their mom and dads are all torn out, you know, and they're like, man, like, can we just get something to eat? You know, and that's how it is. You know, and that's a reality. You know, our kids are hurting, you know, and them wearing stinky clothes. You think that those kids that you young kids are making fun out of want to be wearing those same clothes for 3 or 4 days. You know what I mean? They don't want to be wearing those clothes and stuff like that. Their mom and dad ain't pampering them kids to wear, oh, here's your clothes, son or daughter, and then you're ungrateful for it. Me, I'm like, man, look, I'm going to show you how to do the laundry so you can do it yourself, so I don't have to do that. You're almost 14 years old. You're still doing your laundry, man? Like, what are you, like 5? Do I have to, like, literally clothe you? Like, you know what I mean? Like, man, kids, man, start being a young teen. Get off the titty, and that's the reality. They got to definitely, we're grooming future leaders. That's what we need. But yeah, those kids, man, that bullying is big too. That's really big. This little boy, I had to pick him up because Amanda sent me to him, and he kind of touched my heart a lot. He's like, he told me, he's like, is there something wrong with me? I said, no, man. I said, you're a normal kid. I said, you're a normal kid. I said, don't believe what them kids tell you, because that's how suicide happens. You know what I mean? And that's a reality. Them kids will try to kill themselves. In Appleton, it's more common. It's a lot. My daughter was telling me like different suicides every other week. You know what I mean? And that comes with them pretty girls or whoever picking on them girls that are not so fortunate that are wearing them shoes with the holes in them, things like that. The poor kids. And we have to bring everybody up to our level a lot of times. Just because you have everything, you still might feel like in the inside you don't have nothing. And them girls might be trying to make up for that lack of confidence by bullying somebody else. And them kids, they get bullied and then they kill themselves, and then them girls want to sit there and cry and feel bad, and it's like, man, you kind of pushed them to do that. And now you have to live with that for the rest of your life because of what you did to those girls. And that's horrible. Or them boys, And picking on, I've had kids pick on kids with Tourette's and all that, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, what, I tell them, I get mad. I'm like, what's wrong with you? What would bring, are you kids that evil today as to do that? Picking on mentally challenged kids? Like, how low is that? That needs a good whooping, man. And calling them out, man. Call them out. Take them to the side. You don't make fun out of somebody with disabilities. That's horrible. But back to my story. Sorry, I got off. I got to redirect myself.
Long-winded swerve.
Yeah. But I got stabbed when I was 19 in the lower abdomen during a gang fight. And that was hard for me. I got stabbed in the hand and I got stabbed in the head. I thought I was going to go blind. I was fighting with two guys at the same time. And I was getting it in, and I dropped one of the knives or whatever, and they ended up stabbing me in the hand and the head. And I ran. I was bleeding. They thought I got shot. They thought I got shot in the head. Right over to my auntie's house. Kind of by Perkins that way. She answered the door and she started screaming. I put her through that, and I just want to say sorry, Auntie, And I had my mom's door kicked in by the Secret Service before. I put her through that. Put her through a lot of that, and I went on the run because they thought that I shot up a house or something before, and I was scared, but I didn't do nothing, but everybody though, it don't matter if you do or don't, you're guilty by association all the time, no matter what. Then another time, I was in Milwaukee, and somebody had got murdered. Somebody got murdered, and I went down there for questioning and all that stuff, and then they gave me a no process because I was crippled then, my leg. We were in the car, and one of the kids next to me, pulled out a gun and decided to shoot this guy in the head that tried to run up on the car that we were in, you know, and he shot the dude. The guy's life is over with him. The other guy has life, you know, and that's a reality of things, you know. When you're in the streets, there's casualties, and you know that guy's family, they're never gonna see their dad. That guy's, you know, and that could have been me, you know. And that's, you know, I could have been buried. You know, I've been shot at before, and you know, it's like a war zone out there for our youth. Oh, Oneida don't have a problem, but one of these young guys murdered two of our elders right here in Oneida, Wisconsin. You know, Kamewan Salzman gets murdered, you know, right up at Bender's. Danny John gunned down, you know, in Milwaukee, one of our other Oneida members. You know, there's a list goes on and on and on and on. You know, but that's all from random acts of violence, some of it, and, you know, just the things we've been through. You know, then I got into a car accident going 160 miles an hour in a 350Z. The governor came on and it was black ice. I flew out the back window and the car rolled over my leg and it almost ripped my leg off. And I broke my femur, the hardest bone in your body to break. When I woke up, I called my mama. And I told her, I was like, Mom, I said I might die. I said I might die in here. I was like, but I love you. I was laying in the ditch, and I was laying there for about maybe a half hour, 45 minutes, and I had an iPhone. And I GPSed where I was at because the police, the squad, I had ejected from the vehicle so far in that I was inside of the woods. And I had to crawl. Well, my leg was like jello, you know, but the alcohol, I was so drunk that, you know, I really didn't feel nothing. I could feel stuff, you know, but my leg was like jello. So I had to kind of crawl up so they could see me, you know, and I kept waving because it was, you know, it was, you know, stormy out, you know, and I was sitting there on my back, and I was like, man, I was like, God, I was like, I won't do it no more. I was like, I don't want to die here. I was like, I need some help. Let these guys find me, you know. So I was sitting there screaming like, help, and my leg was crooked. It was like over here, and it was like jello, you know. It was bad, you know, and you know, I had to keep going though. After that, they flight for life me to Menasha, and I ended up, you know, recovering, and that's where my addiction started. You know, I started doing pills. I started doing a bunch of pills because that's what they prescribed me. They prescribed me Percocets, you know, and I didn't know that you could get addicted to pills. I thought I was just taking them for pain medication, you know, and I started popping like 2, and 2 wasn't enough. Then I started popping 3, 3 wasn't enough. And then all of a sudden I was going to different people to get prescriptions, different doctors, you know, and then all of a sudden when I stopped taking the pills, and I was like, man, like I started sweating and my body was on fire. I didn't know what the hell was going on because I didn't know you could get addicted to pills, you know. And then, you know, I talked to the doctor and he's like, you're going to walk with a cane for the rest of your life. So I was supposed to cage fight 6 months later because I won my first 2 fights, 30 seconds and less at my weight class, you know, cage fighting. So he said, you're not going to fight again. You're never going to be able to work right again. He's like, and you're going to have a permanent limp when you walk, you know. And I believed him. You know, I believed him, and, you know, and I kept doing pills. You know, I'd go on the streets and get the pills, whatever I had to do. I was a functioning addict. You know, I had everything. I had everything, living in Milwaukee, nice cars, nice house, 2 houses, you know. And I had everything. But what I didn't have was myself. You know, I was trying to fill that emptiness and void of, and feeling sorry for myself because I wasn't going to walk again because I believed him. So one day I was sitting there on the bed, and I had the pill bottle next to me, like my old friend. And I was sitting there and I was just looking at it and I was thinking, I was like, and I started, nobody was home with me. I had to wash up myself and I had a hard time because I had fresh staples all the way down in my leg. And, I was like, I want to die. I was like, I want to die. So I don't want to be here no more. I don't want to live. I knew that I couldn't kill myself I was scared because of what my mom told me, like if I kill myself, I'm not going to go to heaven. So that's what stopped me from killing myself. But I was like, I don't want to live no more, But, that stopped me from killing myself for sure because there's a lot worse things out there than, being in this world, and that question was really mind-boggling, where would I go if I killed myself, you might not be in this world, but there might be eternal damnation or, just what do you think we're going to do bad this whole life and then we're going to get rewarded, So that's a big thing. But I grabbed the pill bottle and I limped into the bathroom and I poured that pill bottle down the drain.
Amen.
And, I was like, I'm done. I was like, I'm going to fight again. I was like, I'm going to get my life back on track, So I started my own physical therapy, and I started to kind of use crutches, and then that little walker thing. And then I started a slow jog, and then I ended up, being able to run. And, I took a fight at Waverly Beach. I moved up a weight class because I was heavier at 175. And I fought all 3 rounds, and I beat the guy. He was 6'6", so he's a lot bigger than me. But I overcame it. Those withdrawals, like I said, man, they feel like you're going to die. Like you don't want to go through that again, but you will put yourself through that again because I went through that a couple times, and that was 2008, and I've been clean ever since.
Amen. Amen.
And it's hard, so I fought that time, and then just the drinking kept sending me back to jail. The drinking. Everybody's like, well, drinking's not that bad. You become a whole different person. You are not the same person. Drinking is just as bad as drugs. And it's been plaguing our people for quite some time. And then I got stabbed in the hand by one of my other guys I was kind of showing the ropes. We ended up becoming enemies, and I was fighting with this other guy, and he tried to stab me in the face, and I caught the knife with my hand. That's why you'll see 2 scars, one right here and one on the bottom. So my Uncle George come to my rescue that night. He's just looking at me like he was crying. And he's like, nephew, he's like, when are you gonna be done? He's like, you're gonna die. He's like, you're gonna die. He's like, you just were fighting, and we were proud of you. What happened? I'm sitting there drunk, stabbed up. I felt the shame. I felt that shame again. That guilt, all that regret of what I should have been when I was in high school, and what everybody was saying all the time, like, dude, you should have went off to college and this and that. And I was sitting there thinking, like, I just got out of college and I just cage fought. I was worried about what everybody else thought of me all the time and trying to please them and live their dreams of what they wanted for me. And I didn't want to live for myself. Pretty soon you'll find yourself trying to be a pleaser of man. And we are not pleasers of men.
That's right.
Or to step into our callings. I got stabbed then. And then I went up to Mole Lake, Wisconsin at Junior's Bar when I was drinking. And I was up there, and a fight broke out. And I got stabbed in the lower abdomen. And that was pretty traumatic for me because black stuff was coming out of my stomach, and I called Mom again too. I said, Mom, I was like, I don't know what's gonna happen. I said, I got stabbed in the stomach. I said, but if I don't make it, I was like, I love you, and she was pretty hysterical and crying and stuff like that, and then I made it through that, and then I kept going again. You know, then that's when I got in my next car accident. After that, that was pretty traumatic too. You know, I went to prison. I had robbery with use of force. You know, I was the guy trying to rob the drug dealers. You know, not the innocent people, but I was trying to rob drug dealers and, you know, in the streets and stuff like that still. You know, and then I ended up calling it for my clique that I was in, you know, later on. And then, you know, I tried to get out of the streets, but I was so used to it, it became normal. You know, when you do bad for so long, it becomes normal, you know, and it can't be normal. We need to learn how to combat that. And, you know, I went to prison for that robbery with use of force. I pushed my way into this house because this guy was telling me, a drug dealer that I had robbed, he said, I'm going to kill your kids and your baby mama. I was like, all right. So I went and knocked on his door and I pushed my way into the house. And, you know, I told his wife, I said, call him. I said, call him right now. She called him, put him on the phone. I said, I'm here with your kids and your baby mama. I said, and I'm going to kill them. He screamed, you know, because you don't know what you're going to do to the wrong person. And I was that wrong person, you know, and then I left. I left the house. I left it at that. I left his mind to wonder, you know, and I don't glorify none of this stuff, but you have to know, you know, the guy that I was, you know, and I definitely had no respect for human life at all. And then I went on my way. I went on a run. I busted into my uncle, Abel Saldana, into his house, you know, and made him pay for the door later on. As usual, it's like the third door I think I broke of his.
Poor uncle.
Yeah. Follow you a lot of doors. But my uncle Abel, you know, and my auntie Sam, Juanita, they helped me out a lot. And I had a lot of good people in my corner. I had Teresa Barber, you know, Vicky Cornelius Stemmer, you know, my mom, Shirley Barber. I had a lot of good women, a lot of good men. Bob Williams, Ron Hill. Ron Hill was like one of the best guys that I know, you know, as a father figure. You know, he's dealt with all my crap, like everything that you can think about. I'd call him. You know, it didn't matter if it was 2 or 3 in the morning. Ron would answer. He'd be like, "Come on, what the hell did you get yourself into?" You know, you know. But he never turned me away. You know, ever. It didn't matter.
What made you feel like every time that we tell people that you're going to change, what makes you feel that every time that you didn't change and weren't that very same stuff, or you created more bad habits? How did that make you feel? Like after, did it make you feel more guilty, or did it just?
You don't care. You like when you're sitting in that cell, you'll promise God everything. You'll promise your family every single thing that you can to appease everybody. But you're not doing it for yourself. I wasn't doing it for myself. I wasn't ready to change. Money is what will fuel you to do whatever, and not caring. You know, I didn't care. You know, I wanted to make money, and I was gonna do it at all costs. Sell drugs, you know, and be in the streets because I needed money. You know, I didn't know how to suffer. But this time when I got out of prison, you know, I had to learn how to suffer. If you do not know how to suffer on this earth, you're going to do whatever appeases your mind and body. You're going to take the easy way out every single time. So you don't have to feel that trauma, so you don't have to feel oppressed. You know, that's what a gang member or a drug dealer too, you know, a person fighting addiction, they're going to do what feels good to them. You know, and you're not going to care who it hurts, what you have to take, or who you have to take at all. You get numb. Like, I don't care. I've been to prison already. I've been to jail. You know, it's normal. It becomes normal to you. That feeling of letting everybody down, it's like, well, we're already in this far already. You know, what more worse can they say about me? You know, and then your credibility is shot. Your credibility is shot in the community. And that's why I told everybody, I was like, you know what? I said, I think I'm just going to do this. I'm going to start doing this and not care who I have to prove myself to, because I'm going to make such an impact, and I'm going to put a dent in what Satan's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I
Amen.
have to. You know, and there's different ways people fight. There's all kinds of ways that people fight. You know, their activism. You know, whether you're gonna promote social change, and then we have people who are fighting for the other side. You know, who are trying to poison our communities and bring stress upon the people and oppress our people more than what they are. And right now, our people are very, very oppressed, and this is the time when gang members would be able to come in and manipulate the youth, them kids. Here, you know what? You're not getting a meal at home. You're not. Here's a little money in your pocket, little dog. Come on, let's go. And that's the reality of things, you know. And if they're not getting the answers at home, they're definitely gonna find them out in the streets. If they're not banging on mom and dad's door like, "Mom, what does this mean?" or whatever it is, they're getting those answers somewhere else. That's why they are the way they are. You know, and that is the reality of things. And you know, my son too. He's like, "Why you always have me doing stuff?" Because I'm trying to mold you into a good man. That's
Amen.
all,
Amen.
you know, and but yeah, if that answers your question. You know, but yeah, I had a lot of stuff happen. You know, abusive relationships. I was in an abusive relationship until I was about 21. I didn't know what love was. You know, we fought all the time. You know, she break stuff over my head and whatever else, you know, try to stab me. You know, and then we'd be back together after that. 2 relationships like that, actually, you know. And then finally, one time I was sitting there thinking like, damn, like, why am I trying so hard? Even though I'm doing bad in the streets, I'm taking care of my business still, because that's what I figured. I was taking care of my business because I'm paying the bills and whatever else. And I was like, man, what the hell why am I arguing? I could get all my own stuff and I can still be a dad. Really, I don't need you. I love you, but I don't need you.
Okay.
People think that they have to stay in them horrible situations with the other parent. I want to keep my family together. That's not the case. For what though? Why are you staying in that toxic relationship that's going to lead you in prison? It's going to lead you back to the bottle. It's going to lead you back to your addiction again. When you get mad, when you get sad, when you get depressed, when you go through 10 different toxic emotions, you're not only risking yourself, but you're risking that child. If that child is worth rolling the dice with to when she gets pissed off, wants to kick you out, make you guys unstable, or you're going to be in jail, or she's going to be in jail, go ahead, roll that dice of life. That's not a reality though. Me, I'm like, look, I love you, but I don't need you. You know what?
Amen.
I'll go over here and meet my kid. I can be a daddy from over here. And I definitely, if I love my child, I'm going to study that child support law. I have to. You know what I mean? To win my kid, because they need the best chance. I don't want them to be like you. I don't want them to be like you. But if you want to make it work, we need some counseling. We need some people that are successfully doing it that we can take advice from. Because you can't learn from anybody that you despise.
That's right.
And you're not to belittle your counterpart. Because when you have your woman way down here, you're dragging her along in every single thing. You need her to be up here with you.
Amen.
So you're both strong.
Yes, amen.
You know? And that's the reality of things, you know? And a lot of guys try to dominate their women. We can't dominate our strong women because you'll be breaking them down. Why would you want to break down something so strong and beautiful? It's like plucking off the flowers of a rose, and then when you have all them thorns left, then you're like, well, how did you get like this? You made me bitter. You made me like this. You know, and you need to raise them up because they have that power to give life and to take life. You know, they have our kids. But yeah, it's hard, you know. Our women are extremely important. And man, I went through it, man. There's like so much. The prison, going to prison my first time. You know, the guy that murdered that guy, they called me out. They called me everything. They called me a snitch. They called me every single thing. But I went into the prisons and I took them over because of how violent I was. I had to go in there and go through my little whatever, you know, with everybody, violation and all that stuff. But I had to handle it, you know. I had to handle my prison time, you know, because of what I did. you know, on the outside. I was there when somebody got murdered, you know, and the guy told him that I had given him the gun, and I was like, what is he talking about? You know what I mean? And I'm not a dummy. You're not going to get me to go down for a life bit for something that you did. You will never, ever be able to take my life, ever. You did it, and you know what? Yep, right there. I'm not a dummy. But if you guys want to go down for life bits, feel free to. You know what I mean? But that's 100. And I could care less what anybody thinks about me. They didn't even like Jesus. So what makes you think they're going to like me?
Amen.
But yeah, you know, I went to prison, and I was getting sent off on hits and all kinds of stuff in there, you know, to beat people up. I went through that stage. I tried to get out and change my life, but I got deeper into the streets again. You know, and that's when I became the leader for my gang, and I felt that power. I thought that I was trying to protect and preserve my people when I was the leader of my gang, and I was doing the opposite. I was doing the total opposite of what I was put on this earth to do. I was poisoning my people. I was trying to read from a book that said it was talking about God, and that was false. I was polluting the minds of my youth. I was sending off my fellow Native American brothers, all my people. I was sending them off to their doom, you know, because that's all that happens. You know, we'll keep being in the streets and getting told what to do and scared to have the balls to be like, hey, you know what? What the hell do I need you guys for? You know, we're cool when we drink, but if all we have in common with somebody is drinking, smoking, drugs, sex, is that all we got in common? That's nothing positive at all. And then I started to think like, damn, like, I feel like a piece of crap because I'm sitting here like, yep, we're trying to protect and preserve the people, but then we're going and robbing everybody, selling drugs and polluting the community. And I was like, what the hell? I was like, I'm reading my book like, man, this stuff all sounds good in here. You know, it's about love and everything else, but then I'll go back and do a bunch of dumb stuff. And I'm like, damn, I was like, I'm fake. I was like, I'm fake as hell. I was like, and I'm the leader. You know what I mean? Like, and I was sitting there, and I had Bobby Williams, you know, he's a good guy too that I had in my corner before. And he told me, he's like, what's wrong with you? He's like, we're Native American. He's like, we got our own colors, and we got our own ways and stuff like that. You know, he's like, you don't need that gang. He's like, that's not part of who we are as Native American people. You know, we don't have them kind of things within our ways and traditions. You know, and I was like, man, that's true. That always stuck with me though, you know. I got jumped a lot to Flavor too when I was a little guy. But yeah, I went through the gang stuff. And that was hard for me because all my best friends, you know, I felt like I had to lose everything to gain everything.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody wanted to hang out no more, you know, when I kind of stopped being a gang member. Nobody wanted to come around. You know, your life takes a whole new direction. Your friends change. Some friends die. Some friends overdose that are still in the streets. You know, and that's a reality of things. You know, is that change, and it hurts. To me, it got boring. When I get bored, I'd want to drink. I'd want to go with my homeboys. But I had to fill up my days. That's why everybody's always like, why the hell are you doing so much? Because I know what my addiction does to me. I know that I have to be busy, or I'm going to want to, you know, if I get pissed off, I'm going to want to drink, or I'm going to want to do cocaine. You know, and it's all her fault. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, only you are going to know what you can carry. You know, that heavy load and that burden. You know, and then I went to prison in Green Bay Max for a car accident. I went in a high-speed chase in Forest County the first time while I went to prison, and then the second time I went to prison for a car accident. I was going 120, and I flipped my truck 3 times, and I crashed into a garage, and I walked away without a scratch. So that's big. That was my 3rd car accident. So.
kids and stuff like that, do you talk to them about the stuff that you do? Or
About what I did, or
yeah,
what I
like,
do now.
like what you did and then what changed?
They lived it with me.
now, so.
They lived it with me. They know exactly what I was doing. They know everything that I was doing, every single thing that I exposed them to, bringing them into my gang meetings, them seeing me sell drugs. You have to think about why your kids are the way that they are, and all the stuff that I have to undo from my not being a good parent. My son, when he ran away a couple weeks ago, he's not used to the man that I am today. He's not used to that discipline and that structure. He was getting too old for my mom to take care of. You know, that's one of the things that we're going to be talking about is the grandparents that are taking care of the grandkids. They need to retire. At 65, 70 years old, and grandma's still taking care of your guys' kids. Only in 2019 does that happen. You know what I mean? And them grandparents are overwhelmed. They should be resting right now and enjoying their last years on this earth. But then because we want to do what we do, oh, it's all good. Grandma got some. What you gonna do when grandma passes away from all that stress of her heart, and, you know, all the conditions that she has while she's taking care of your kids, your responsibility? I did that to my mom. I did that to my mom and my grandma for my grandma. She had my son before she passed away, and she asked my mom, because I was in the streets, on her dying bed, my grandma said, please take care of him. My mom promised to take care of him to the best of her ability. So I knew that I had to change, so I could step up and give my mom some less burden and a less stress, and make her proud. I get to see both of that generations of what she done with me after we both kind of stepped our game up, and then my son too. You know, she gets to enjoy us now, and she's only 50 versus her being 65, and I'm still trying to get it right yet. You know what I mean? And that hurts, and that is a reality though, man. Like, what we do is going to reflect upon how our kids act a lot of time, because they're like, oh no, you got a mind of your own, and that influence, the power of influence.
Mine's different from the drugs and stuff. Mine's like being a workaholic, so I didn't get that time with the kids as much, you know, like what you did, you know what I mean? So yeah, so I like, my kids would push on my mom there.
Yeah, but that's different. Yeah, but do they feel that neglection versus them? They get you though. They get the best years of you. Yep, my mom does work a lot, but I'm proud of her. Yep, my mom, we got everything. Being very pampered. But I don't mean materialistic things. I mean they get the best of their mama. They don't get to see their mama all effed up and whatever.
But they're not appreciated.
Yep,
So
and
that's a difference.
And that's a liberty that those kids get. Pretty soon it's to like where I'm doing everything and you don't want to do nothing. You don't want to lift a finger to be like, you know what, Ma, I appreciate everything you do for me. I appreciate it because I see what all these other kids are going through in my class. Because you can look around. The statistics are there. Amanda has them. About 16 out of 18 of these kids have been through one traumatic thing in their life or more.
83% of our kids that I had this summer were affected by drugs and alcohol.
83%, she said, have been affected by drugs or alcohol. But then you got kids that are not affected by them but put themselves in them high-risk positions when they have a room at home with every single thing that a kid could want. A lot of these kids are like going to McDonald's to get Wi-Fi. But then yet, me though, I'm not an enabler. Oh, you want to go? Okay, that's fine. Well, then I'm going to run away. It's all good. I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call the cops. You can sit in shelter care. Because I need you to be strong. I need you to start stepping your game up because I'm doing everything and you're not doing nothing.
I sent mine to the Challenge Academy.
Yep.
She's gone away to the Challenge Academy until December.
Good. And that's a hard decision because my son, he wanted to start acting a fool. So like, well, we got Willow Creek for you. Willow Creek. Oh, you want to kill yourself? All right, I got you. Come on, I got you, son. You ain't gonna. We'll put you in a secure facility. I don't play the suicide games. I have no time for that because while my son is acting a fool, I got 5 other kids that is gonna be influenced. Oh, you're treating mom like a piece of shit. oh, I can do that too. It's not just about that one kid. I told my son right away, like, look, you want to act a fool? I got a place for you. You're going to end up right in a joint. And that's the reality. I don't wish that on my son. But that is a reality. If you keep acting that way, you're doing this to yourself. And this is you now, because we love you. And we tell you that we love you. But there's an internal fire that them kids have as to where they're missing that empty piece. Only they're going to know how to fix themselves and what they're missing. Whether it's that absent parent, whether it's that love and affection that they feel that they're not getting, or it's just that rebellious spirit that's in them to where they're like, I just don't care. I don't care. You know what I mean? And that might be it. It might be something internal. But we're never going to know, though. Only they're going to know. And sometimes it takes a lot. You have to literally kind of let them talk once in a while. You know, because I had to let my son too. I had to kind of, I'm not used to none of that. I'm used to my son being a baby. I'm used to my daughters, like, I don't want my kids to fear me. I want them to respect me. You know, every time I walk in the house, the whole atmosphere just changes with my kids because they know what I expect. You know what I mean? I need you to do your chores because that's a earlier work ethic for them. We move as a unit, as a family. What you do to one of us, you do to all of us. If you hurt one of us, we're all going to come then, you know, and help heal.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And we don't have that life to where we're in the street. We're not that kind of family no more. We move as a unit. But when we see you over here acting a damn fool, we're like, man, what is up with you, man?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man, you got everything. You might not. My son, I tried everything. I tried to get him involved in MMA. Didn't work. Try to, do that one-on-one with him, Try to get him to go to church. Didn't want to do that. Try to do sweat lodge. Went a couple times, then didn't want to do that. My daughter too. Longhouse, passage of rights. You try to overachieve. Try to do what they want. Well, what do you want to do? Well, you just want to sit there and listen to Murder on My Mind. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on, man. Like, you want to listen. It's like all foolish to me. I can't sit there and promote stupidity. I can't. Because to me, it's like, okay, you're a kid. That's fine. I know that you like this music. I know you like these games. But there has to be a level of respect for your parents to where you're like, you're not ghetto. You want to be ghetto, though, but you got everything. Like, you're like Malibu's most wanted. You know what I mean? And that's for real. Dude, my son has a master bedroom at the house, my biggest bedroom in my house. We just got our carpets done. You know what I mean? Like, he got a $300 cell phone. You know what I mean? And you have kids that are like that to where they're out in the damn streets and you know what I mean? You're like, what the hell? And I had a good life too. My grandma, grandpa, they took good care of me, but they didn't know how to parent. They didn't know how to be parents. I just ran the streets. I did what I wanted to.
Yes, you did.
I had the run of things. I was very spoiled and selfish. But by me running the streets, I got exposed to drugs because I didn't have no parents to where. And after a while, I just kept running. You keep doing what you want to for so long. You start to become your own parent. You'll start being like, I'll stay gone for 4 or 5 days. I'll just call home. Now though, my son, I'm like, hey, what are you doing? Who are you with and where are you at? Oh, you didn't call home in a day or two? Okay, well, that's fine. Your friends got phones and whoever else. Me now, I just call the cops. I don't got no time for that. When you get called in as a runaway, you gotta come back home. You can hide out. I don't give a crap if it's a month or two, but it's on your time. You're not gonna do it on my time. It's not about you. If you're being disruptive in your household, I didn't have no problems, calling the cops on my son at all. I thought that was, last time I'd be like, I would never think about that, calling the cops on my own kid. That was foreign to me. Now though, I'm like, I need help. I'm sick of riding around at 2:30 in the morning, not knowing what's going on. I need help. And you need to know what your limits are, setting your boundaries, you know what I mean, and your standards. But yeah, I went to Green Bay, I started out in Oshkosh for a little bit. We're almost done with my story too. Oshkosh, went there, and man, that was different. It was like you don't learn when you're in a medium. When you are in a medium prison, it's like a day camp. It's like a college campus. You know what I mean? You know, you got female COs, you got, you know, everything, radio, TV, cable. You know what I mean? It's like we do all these years in prison, and then the last, say you do 10 years. The last 6 months of your 10 years, you're gonna do some kind of AODA or CGIP, criminal thinking programs and whatever. Do they actually think that that's gonna work? You know what I mean? Like you have 10 years of trauma, and then you're doing 10 years of prison, and then 6 months is gonna cure you, and then send you on your way, and they'll get about maybe $15,000 per person. You know what I mean? So yeah, it's a pretty big. They make money off of prisoners. You know, that's why incarceration versus rehabilitation. Some people do need to be chronic offenders, you know, that are selling heroin and meth and whatever else. They do need to be locked up.
Yes.
And some people do, majority of people need rehabilitation. But, you know, they do. But I went to Oshkosh for my car accident I got into. I got revocated on my robbery with use of force. I ended up doing 4.5 years. I was sitting there in my cell before I got sentenced, because I already went to prison. The longest I ever been out since I was 14 was 10 months. Yep. So I did maybe like almost I did about maybe 13, 14 years altogether. You know, so that's a long time. You know, you become numb. Oh man, I'll just throw me in prison. You know, that's it. That's all. Family will come see me, take care of me, throw me a little money for my canteen. You know, live off everybody else, whatever. That's how it is. Hustle when you're there. You can get drugs when you're in prison. You get a bunch of drugs when you're in prison. But yeah, it's true. But you know, I ended up going to Green Bay Max because I took over Oshkosh Prison. You know, and I had about maybe 100 guys under me, maybe more. You know, same thing as the outside. I had a large group of guys under me before. That max time changed my life. There's nothing like maximum prison. 23 hours a day and 1 hour out.
Can you explain something? Is it different from being in prison from Orange County or that Orange County TV show? Because I have my little girl here. She likes watching those get straight. You know, scared scoops. Yeah, she likes watching that stuff. But
My first time in prison, I seen somebody die right across from me. It's in Unit 19. This old man, he had like 50-some years, and you don't know because when they get up that amount of time, you don't know if they're gonna kill you or they're gonna kill themselves. This guy ended up killing himself right across. They tape it off. Sexual assault in prison is real. You know, and that's a reality. You know, you got super prisoners who are there for 20 years and that are big. You know, and they might get some cellies that they don't get along with. Portage, they kill somebody with an extension cord. Imagine that, laying there, you got 6 months left, you got a lifer in the cell with you, and then he strangles your ass and goes to Boscoville for 6 months to a year, 360s in, and he'll only do a quarter of that now, 9 months, and then he'll get back out and do his life bit after you're dead. You know, and that's the reality of things. You know, the joint max ain't no joke. You got guys with 100 years in there. You know, I had guys that had 50 years, 100 years, and I'm only sitting there with 2 or 3 years. You know what I mean? You know, I had one of my cellies tell me, yeah, I was supposed to kill you. You know what I mean? He had 102 years. But he's like, little dog, he's like, I'm sick of this gang life. Because I was telling him about God, and I was telling him that there is a different purpose, you know what I mean? I was talking to him. And he's like, man, I gotta tell you something, man. And then he was holding down the joint. He was holding down our whole joint. So, you know, I made it through that. But I knew that. I knew that he was supposed to kill me, and I still went into the cell with him. Because if I would have PC'd up or whatever it may be, I would have had a hard time coming out in the population. But I held down the joint before too, and I was just as deadly. We would have been in there fighting and stabbing the whole time, whatever it may be. And I know I'm bad. Like I said, you know what I mean? I had no fear in me. There wasn't nothing that was going to scare me. Like, oh yeah, I've been stabbed 3 times. You want to stab me? Go ahead. I've been fighting. You know what I mean? It's going to be me killing you or you're going to kill me. So I went in the cell. You know, we got to know each other. Became my cellie. You know, and then we were all good after that. And then when I wanted to get out of my gang, I had a hit sent out on me. I had one of these young men. He came to me, and I knew him. And he's looking at me like, bro, man. He's like, man, you got to check out. I said, what you mean check out? Man, I'm 190 pounds and I can beat up about 2 or 3 people. What you mean check out? What's up? He's like, man, the homies, man, they sent a hit out on you. I mean, I'm thinking like, so? You know what I mean? Like, this ain't the first person who's told me that. You know what I mean? Because I had the joint before that. So my respect that I had of that whole joint carried over with me. But when I got there, though, I was not complying with nothing. I was done. I had 5 of my homeboys tell on me from the last joint for selling drugs. And before that, I was in prison because my homeboy told on me. Before that, I was in prison because I had my homeboy tell on me. So I counted 9 of my own homeboys that were part of my gang that told on me. And then they were worried about when I told on this other guy that was an opposition that killed one of our own guys. But when I told them guys, like, why I did what I did, they were, oh yeah, you're good. You're good. He killed one of ours. He's an op. Then it was all good, though. But when I got 9 of my homeboys and got the paperwork, everything else in the book that I wrote, I was like, damn, I'm in a joint because of one of ours told on me. You know what I mean? That's why I went to prison. I got on a high-speed chase. My homeboy told on me. Got me 2 years in, 5 years old. I can't get that back. I go to Oshkosh. I got 5 people who CI'd on me. Oh, but the captain told me, he's like, oh yeah, it was him, and him. I get shipped off to Max. So anyways, little dog comes over there and he gives me a little piece of paper. He's like, yeah, man. He's like, you got to check out Woo Woo. I said, it ain't that kind of party. I want to sharpen the shank up. All right, I got something for you. This is Max guy. You little guy's got 15 years running around. So I go upstairs, you know, to the rec area, and I see him come over there with some gloves or something. I'm on the phone. Him and another dude come over, and he got these little gloves on. He's like, you know what time it is? I drop the phone and Katie, boom! He lays out on his back and curls up. His other dude tried to punch me in the back of the head. I gave him a head kick and got to piecing him up too. And all the guys in there were laughing. They were like, oh, you can't even handle that little bitty dude. Both of them I beat up. That's because of what I did though before that. I ended up taking off on one of my cousins that was at the joint with me. Because he was talking crazy all the time. It's either fight or flight. You know, so I go to the hole. And then that's where my change happens.
Amen.
You know, I wasn't trying to glorify that stuff, but that's where my change happens. I had to go to the hole. And I was in there. And I was in my cell. I was laying down. And, you know, I'm talking to my homeboy. And I fall asleep. And then I wake up and I see this great big, it's like, looked like a demon. It had praying to Jesus. And it backed out of my cell.
That's what I'm talking about.
And then it went, you know what I mean? And that was the scariest thing in my life. I thought I was going to die. It's called paralysis or something like to where you feel like it's choking you.
Paralysis.
And I didn't think you would ever see no kind of like real life, like physical, you know, spirits or something like that.
Entity.
Man, I must have been I must have brought on a whole lot of hell onto myself. Because I know that God let Saul be attacked by demons. By a bad spirit they said he sent upon him. And David had to play a little harp to get that spirit away from Saul. But I knew that I was doing bad. Whatever happened, you know, so I started looking into every kind of thing. Culture and stuff like that, and you know, I studied everything. I studied Hebrew and Aramaic so I could try to retranslate not the New Testament but the Old Testament, and you know, I started to study classical Greek, you know, and I started studying the Jewish canon and the church canon, pre-Reformations, Reformations, after Reformations. I looked into 25,000 different archaeological finds that supported the Bible. I looked into prophecy. You know what I mean? And what is the chance of telling the future and what has happened? There was over 300 there was over 10, there was over 1,000 prophecies that had been fulfilled and are being fulfilled. So that told me a lot. When I went through that, then I got out, and I hit the ground running this time when I got out. Probation and parole saved my life. I had to listen to my PO. I needed that firm foundation. I needed to be told how to live again, because I did not know how to be normal. I was like, man, I'll go get a 400 splitter or a 9-piece. I'll get a quarter kilo and I'm gonna start this out. That's how I was before. Get that fast money. Go and find a rich girl and whatever else, and then just build off of her or whatever. You know what I mean? Manipulating women, multiple women, though. And building a small empire off of all them women. You know what I mean? That's how I was. And that was hard. That was hard for me. I went through a failing marriage that I thought that, was gonna work, but the other woman that I was with, and she was addicted to drugs. So how could I try to stay sober and clean, but my partner is on drugs and whatever else? And I ended up meeting my beautiful Autumn, and that was the best thing that happened to me. Oh no. But that was the best thing that happened to me. And right there, the phone. It's fine, but why just let it sit down right there? That ain't what I asked you. Just get the phone and put it up right there. It's all good. And plug it in. That happened to me, and I love that. And that was hard for me though. We went through our struggles. We lost a couple babies. You know what I mean? I love her a lot, and it takes that extra push, to fall back in love, and not for the wrong reasons though, because we don't just have drinking in common. We don't just have a sexual, to where that's all we want to do. We come together just to have sex, and then that's all we do, We don't, that's how it is though with relationships. That's all you got. When you guys meet, where single people are at the bar, you're going to be always wanting to go to the bars. And you're going to get boring if you're trying to change and she's not, or if he's trying to change, you know what I mean? If she's trying to change and he's not. Your mate, you need to have something in common that's good. Because if all you have is raising hell, that's not going to get you nowheres. It's going to be hard. Because you're like, man, I had enough. But she's like, hell no, you didn't have enough. And she's always going to be tempting you, you know what I mean, to want to drink, or, when she has a bad time, she'll run off and want to go use. And then you're sitting there at home with the kids, like, stressing yourself out, and then you're going to work mad. You should not have to go to work and wonder what the hell she's doing, who she's with, or whatever. If she's doing drugs, you know how stressful your life is going to be, and you got to think about doing that for the rest of your life. You know what I mean? And that's huge. Do you really want to go through that for the rest of your lives? Like, man, you're going to be insecure, then your mind is going to be playing tricks. Like, you're going to want to be calling her while you're at work. Even because I roofed inside, and I brought my woman to work with me sometimes. Not because I was insecure, because I love her. I brought her. I was roofing inside and out in the damn cold last winter. Putting soffit in, everything, and I loved being by her. I didn't have to worry about while I was at work what my woman was doing at all. I'll be home, and we're all good like old people. But that feels good though. To where you're not insecure or jealous, or, to where you feel like you have to go through her phone when she's sleeping or whatever it may be. That's not a way to live. You have to have that trust and that love and that compassion, and not be jealous or envious of her, and her getting mad because you're being successful. When I'm successful, we're successful. When you're successful, we both are.
Amen.
And that's how it should be. That's big. Like I said, bringing your wife up to your standards, and being a man, and knowing when you're wrong, and being able to take that knee and be submissive to your wife. Be a compassionate listener, and finding out what her needs are. how was your day today? And me, I'll have a big, long, eventful day, but I'll come home and I'll run her bath, or I'll come home and I'll rub her feet, whatever it may be, because I love her. That's why I do that. You know what I mean?
Sure, sure.
You know, and I don't mind that. You know, I need to be Romeo sometimes, and keeping that fire lit between us, so I don't have to, you know, run off all the time. No, I'm just kidding.
Whatever.
Start being sick when you guys like that. But no. But yeah, that's my story, and I started Project Lights Out because kind of my brother, you know, Junior. My brother Junior, you know, he died of heroin. Cousin Shannon, you know, they all died of heroin in the gangs. Thought I could make a big impact on the community with the gang problem we had. You know, because I was like, man, I put a lot of these kids on the streets in gangs. You know, it's time to show them the reality of things. I did enough time for me and you, little dog, you know, 10 years plus. And me, when I talk to them, they know I'm not full of crap. You know, it's like, what can you tell me that I ain't been through? You're just starting. You know, so you gotta try to catch them now versus later. You don't want them pregnant. You don't want them locked up. You don't want them dead. You know, that's why we're here today, because we care. You know, and there's no price on life. But yeah, with that being said too, we're gonna have another Project Lights Out session next week, and we're gonna bring on some of our guests real quick. Amanda, if you wanna come up here. Hello.
Yeah, Amanda.
You wanna introduce yourself?
Hello, I'm Amanda. I'm 33. I live in Neenah currently. I went to school with John here in Seymour. Moved to Neenah to kind of break the cycle of how family was going, life was going, things like that. I also was hurt as a child sexually, any which way, led to me trying to kill myself. I went through a lot of turmoil. I started sniffing coke. I was already smoking weed and drinking, but I went to a lot of heavier drugs. 18, I started smoking meth. I was already in the streets, selling pretty heavy. I had a daughter at 17, 14 days after I turned 17. So I was also a teen mom. Got kicked out of my house because I got pregnant. And I had a lot of issues with my child's father, so I decided to break it off and do what was best for my child, knowing that I did not want my child to keep repeating what I already had gone through. Being young was very confusing. My parents were separated. We're always dissing the other one, so it was very hard for me to learn how to love myself as well as them. Made a lot of confusion. I felt really, really lost. So I started using really heavy. I also was in a few car accidents. Totaled over $10,000 car, no insurance, was drunk, drugged. Like I said, I was in the streets. So guys would drug me and rob me, take advantage of me, knowing that I was stacking money. So I guess I can't say that I ever sold myself, but if you look at the game in the streets, I was like their bitch. So some of them did not like the fact that I said no and would take advantage of me. Learned really, really fast, a lot of stuff. When my daughter was 6, I got snitched out with stolen stereo equipment because I stopped messing with some people that I knew were not too well for us or for me. And they came through my house. Kind of traumatized my daughter very well, much so. 2008. Let's see, that was 2009. 2008 is when I stopped smoking meth. I had gone through everything. With the car accidents that I was in as a child, I had gotten a big lump sum of money. With that, I bought a house, knowing that, you know, I would have problems as I got older. And I spent the rest on drugs. It was about $65,000 cash, and about $36,000 cash. At that time, I sat and knew, as the men were coming to me, saying, "Look, you're never broke. You have a pussy, and you have a kid." And I literally almost put my .357 bullet right in his head. It took a couple times, and then they finally left me alone. But from there, it became very hard. I slept for 2 months.
Depression?
Big depression, yes. Schizophrenic, like you name it, I had it. I had picked my lips completely off. Never knew it was possible. Had big gouges in my face. Taken a lot of self-care on myself to get myself back okay. But I still have like scars and stuff from the healing of the process. Bipolar, post-traumatic stress. I held a lot of the trauma. Handled the trauma, how to process it. Blamed a lot of myself for everything. And when I did go to court when I got raped when I was 14, I told the judge the guy only got 4 years. He admitted to drugging and raping me when I was at the bar with my mom, and he brought me to the field and raped me, and that was my virginity. I lost it because I realized my whole life being hurt from different people was not okay. So it definitely put a toll on me. I was very angry, and I attacked the teacher in school. I, getting fights with people at school just for saying basic stuff. I also lived in shelter here. All the time, I would get out and go right back in. Get out, go right back in. Kind of come out of those 2 months of sleeping and off of that. I couldn't live with myself. I tried putting a bullet in my head. It didn't go off. And before that, I went to my brother's grave, and I got really drunk before without watching anything. Just went and just laid down on my head, and I just cried. Like, help me! I don't know how to live. I know I'm not doing something right, but like I don't know how to, and I don't know how to get out of this life. This is all I know. I started selling pretty heavy to show my ex that him leaving me with a $700 electric bill was not going to faze me, and that, I can do this without him. Like, I don't need him. I'm better without him. And it just escalated. So when I went to my brother's grave and did that, that was on Saturday. Sunday I woke up, my aloe plants were dead. Just dead. I was shocked. I didn't know what the hell was going on. Monday morning, they came to my door. And when I went down to reach for the stereo equipment, because it was under my bed, along with the table that I had, with everything right there, they pushed me down and threw their guns in my face. And my daughter was right there, and she's seen it all. Also during that time of me sleeping for those 2 months, my daughter was touched by the neighbor kid. So I was waiting for the mom, also to get the little boy's sisters. They were always at my house, and never could figure out why, but now, I definitely can see why. Tried telling the officers that day. They didn't care. So my daughter still has a lot of trauma dealing with that, and she blames me for using, saying, like, Mom, I know if you weren't using or sleeping, you would have been there. Like, I always was. So a lot of trauma with that, but just learning how to flip that through the obstacles in life.
How are you dealing with that?
Taking those lessons, turning them into blessings. So we were just
Amen.
talking back there. You know, sometimes it's so hard to find gratitude in anything. You know, the people who have hurt me, you know, I have to have love for all. You know, like if I don't love all, I can't be there for all. I can't be there for myself. And they
That's how
taught
you
me.
heal, is through forgiveness.
Yep,
Yeah.
yep. And, you know, I never could understand when I did get raped when I was 14 or, you know, even my childhood, like why, you know, and that's all I asked in court was why. And he didn't answer. And it like ate at me, you know, like, okay, like this person just literally drugged me and raped me in a field when he was supposed to bring me home. And he can't even say why. And like, I just couldn't quite get it. Now I get it. You know, people do what they're taught, you know, so people who are sick like that, you know, like they need love too, but they also need the programming. You know, prison's not changing these people, it's getting them sicker and slicker, you know. So I had to learn.
Becoming smarter prisoners. That's what incarceration does to a lot of people. Become smarter, sharper, and hungrier.
Yep, yep. So then, yeah, I mean, he got out, he married a girl my age, had a little daughter, all of that, you know, so it was a lot to process when I was 18. Also, just having to deal with all of that, but also finding the love for them, knowing, like, they wouldn't be that way if they weren't taught to be that way, you know. Still, you know, with a lot of stuff that has happened in my life, I have, you know, something with, you know, the law enforcement because I see these things with the programming and